Well, welcome everybody to the first episode of The Writer at Work. I just figured it would be interesting for you guys to see what I did as a writer. I know I'm always talking about it when I'm gaming, but this is actually what I do for a living. So this is the final format before I start to get it ready to upload to the various platforms for 365 days of flash fiction. I was working on it earlier this morning, so I am about halfway through in July somewhere. There we go. And we are currently making sure all of the paragraphing is done, all of the various bits of bolding are done that need to be bolded. And I'm basically, where was I? The warehouse raid. All right, so basically what I was doing was just going through and making sure my formatting was perfect. So during my pre-formatting period, I put in double Qs, so I know where to put in some italics if it's not obvious. But I don't do the same for the bolding, and I'm just doing a major format on paragraphs. I've added some new words into this one. I've released it beforehand, but I've put on a new cover and I've added, as I said, I've added paragraphing out bits. So this is my final formatting for this one. So you're just seeing me in the last stages of it. I will, when I do 365 days of poetry, I'll take you through the nuking process. That means I've got to add some of these things in. But it takes freaking forever and drives me absolutely crazy. And I try really hard to get it right, but I don't always. So I'm also telling it which bits belong in here. So there we go. So I'm probably not going to talk a lot during this very short video. It's only going to be I'll give you about 20 minutes of what I do. If you stick around that long, I'm happy for your company. Otherwise, yeah. But I do, this is going to take me several hours. I'm not going to put several hours of me editing up on here. I've done that one. So yeah. So 365 days of fiction was a bit of a challenge where I wanted to write a piece of flash fiction every day. And then I had the brilliant idea of putting it into a collection. What I didn't know about these collections is they take hours to format. However, they also give me some wonderful ideas for my novels, and they help me develop my worlds. And I've got so many stories now that I need to write more of, to discover more of the characters in that I'm going to do another one of these. So this is going to be a little bit, like I said, this is what it looks like when I'm formatting, and it's one of probably the least glamorous parts of being a writer and an independently publishing writer. But this is what it looks like. Sparrow. I did go through and look for ship names earlier, because spaceships, like naval ships, their names should be in italics. All right, and then you have all of the made-up words that need to be just added in. So this kind of tracks a bit of a writing journey where I took my inspiration. Stories come from everywhere, and some days I know where they come from, and other days they just ripple up from the subconscious and appear. Names are a pain. They take so long to work out. unlike some of my future collections, what is wrong with this? Man, Word loves its little tricks. Occasionally it'll just change the entire document to French when, to French editing when it's actually English. I am writing in United States English. Call me bilingual if you want, because that's where my greatest market is. So I did initially insist on writing in Australian English, but now I've got to make sure that that's consistently US English all the way through. So that's another consideration for the editing cycle as well, the editing / formatting. So we're coming into this a little late. The editing cycle for this has already finished quite some time ago. But you always keep an eye out for the odd spelling error, or in one case I found some duplicates, because you're never going to get it perfect. Yeah. So you'll see this episode of The Writer at Work. You'll see that coming up probably after I've actually uploaded this book for pre-order. Like I said, this is like the third edition of this book, and it's going to be the last edition I do. Sometimes Word just doesn't have some of those contractions in it. Oh, good. It's a little bit nerve-wracking putting one of these up. I mean, I don't even know if anyone will be interested. But I figured a lot of people wonder what a writer does. This just kind of demystifies it a little bit. See, seafarers, Word understands. Starfarers, it's still getting used to. Enough of us use it, it'll get there. All right. Serenity, one of my favorite movies. So, yeah. Let's get all of this done. I think once I've gotten the markings through, I've put in all of the chapter headers, I've put in the links for the chapters. I've done the italicization, I've done the bolding, I've added in the author notes. Just trying to work out what else there is to do. Let's just go with... There is no fast way to do this. Man, I didn't think I made up this many words. Big bad boom. So there are a few Australian to American English bits that I didn't catch in the first run through. I might have to do a quick run through later and just make sure I've caught them all. Oops, Control C. All right. So many characters I've got to re-explore and revisit. So you will see some of these shorter pieces in themed collections. There's a collection of dragons coming up that will have a few of the little bits of flash from here that have to do with dragons. There's also, I'm also planning a anthology collection for Mac and Me. There are some of the short stories that gave rise to that series in this collection. They're all kind of hodgepodge in this collection. This is just as they came to me each day, or on one of the days I wrote them. Whereas the themed collections will have just stories on dragons, so if you don't want to read about zombies, you don't have to. This collection has zombies in it as well. Zombies, dragons, spaceships. All the things. Some of them are written, that one up above was written while I was in between classes at university. I just used to take whatever writing time I could get when I was doing that. Flash fiction was really good for that. You could still write while you're fitting things in around time. Wow, I missed a few of those. So, I mean, the good thing about this is usually I'm listening to, I can listen to classes while I do this. I can listen to, as long as I don't put the picture on, I can generally listen to podcasts by other writers. Sometimes I'll actually listen to my gameplay. Oops. Sometimes I'll listen to my gameplay videos and make sure that I'm not, choking on anything while I'm doing it. But mostly I listen to classes. So this was one of my first bits of flash fiction I ever wrote. Like I said, no matter how many times you edit it, you'll always find mistakes. They just get less. Yeah, for the curious, this is what this phase of the formatting cycle looks like. Just, crossing your Y's, dotting your T's, making sure everything looks pretty. Teaching your dictionary what words you use. Some of them I don't even know how they should look. I tend to do each sort of section in sections. So I go through and I do all of the headers first. I go through and I do all of the bolding. I do that in phases. I'll go through and I'll put in all of the italics for the introduction to each little piece as we go. So by the time I get to here, where I'm just going through from top to bottom, it's it still looks wrong to me. Anyway, from top to bottom, it's mostly done, but I still can't assume that I've found everything. Just occasionally, little things sneak past. All right, I must have done the italics up to here. So I mean, my next phase is going to be going through and removing all these double Qs before it goes out. And then I'll do another scroll through and look for anything out of place. This is another one. Actually, this was the first one I wrote for Chuck Wendig's. Terrible Minds. He used to do a flash fiction challenge every Friday, and it was a really good way for me to learn how to write really short, sharp stories and practice it. And I just use that as an incentive. I don't think they're still on. I'll have to go and check now, but I don't remember seeing them for a bit. Mind you, I did get busy, so I might have missed them. Okay, recognize. There's so many little spelling differences between the US and Australia and UK. It's like that stays there. All right, but we are coming up to the last part of this video. If you've enjoyed this video so far, please press like. If you want to see more of this video, please hit subscribe. If there's anything you want to know about the writing process that you think I can answer, I can try and answer the questions, but just let me know in the comments. But I've got a good ways more to go on this one, so and I won't make you sit through all of the editing that remains, not the editing, the formatting that remains. So this book here, this is up for pre-order if you wanted to read it, and that's pretty much how I go about my formatting. I've just got to take my time and try and get it perfect. And there we go. All right, well, that is the end of September, and that's where I'll leave you. Thanks so much for hanging with me. I hope you've enjoyed this, and I'll check you later. Have a really good week out there, and I'll see you around.